all the readers that newspapers are indeed safe. The fact that they are saying you get the WhatsApp forwards or rumors surrounding that newspapers are not safe is totally unscientific. There is no proof to that. Also, furthermore, they all go on to say that the presses at the Times group follow all the safety protocols very stringently. Also, the delivery vendors and the agents follow all hygienic norms, the safety method norms. So there's nothing for you to worry about the newspaper. So you can go ahead and get your copy of the Economic Times as well as the Times of India. And if you don't get that, you can talk to a delivery agent, or you can log on to www.wantmypaper.com. So this is why the newspapers are saying there's nothing for you to worry. But let me get on with the top 10 headlines that's there on the newspapers this morning. And first up, you have a story here that talks about the second stimulus that is likely to be unveiled this week, and that is the top story on the Economic Times and as well as on ET Now that we'll be tracking through the course of the day. That the second stimulus could be unveiled this week. Apart from that, you have Apple that may take a bigger bite of India's manufacturing pie. Next, you have Prime Minister and the Chief Ministers meet today to focus on the opening up of the economy. Remember, May 17th is when this lockdown 3.0 comes to an end. Trains to gradually start from today onwards, and that is the bookings for these trains will start from today onwards. And India vets FDI model to plug the gap. So these are the top 5 headlines. For the next 5, Varun, take it away.
Sure, Cheryl. So the number one for me is Remdesivir will have to go through checks. That's coming from the DCGI. So it's a front page story, small column there. What it basically says is while Remdesivir may have been approved by global authorities, India will be doing its own checks, and only then will it be administered to the local population here. Moving forward, sticking with pharma, mega FDI plan to focus on faster pharma approval. So the same subject, as these drugs come into the foray, we need quicker and quicker approval so manufacturing can resume faster. Next, need credit guarantee scheme for banks. So that's something that we've been hearing a lot about, and it's something that we'll also be tracking. Next is the COVID package may dry up funds for infra. So infrastructure sector really in need of funds. And next from me, the BMC anticipates doubling of cases in the next 15 days. So that's a key metric to look out for as well.
All right, so the top 10 headlines that's there on the Economic Times this morning. Well, let's shift focus to top market headlines that the Economic Times has. And the first up is definitely that the second stimulus will be unveiled this week. Something that the India Inc. is really anxiously waiting for is the stimulus package. Apart from the Prime Minister and Chief Ministers meet today, you have the Finance Minister that will be meeting the PSU bank heads today. You have investors in Franklin Templeton's wound up debt funds that could face a really big hit. You have COVID packages that may dry up funds for the infra sector, like the way that's what Varun mentioned a while back. And 2 HSBC MF debt plans report 9 to 10% erosion in May alone.
All right, and let's also get you a little slice of what's happening in the corporate world. And the first one for today is Apple may take a bigger bite of India's manufacturing pie. So that speaks for itself. Front page of the Eco Times today, perhaps one of the largest stories. They're definitely looking at India as an exciting new destination as China faces more and more problems. Moving forward, RIL to raise $15 billion abroad. So we've all been hearing about RIL's constant money raises, and I beg your pardon, it's $1.5 billion, not $15 billion. Again, on the front page of the paper, that will take their total raised amount to nearly 1 lakh crore, and their debt is around 1.5 lakh crore, 1.5 lakh crore. So they're really aggressively deleveraging, looking overseas to raise money. Moving forward again, India vets FDI model to plug gaps, so that speaks for itself. Vistara's trying to retain jobs and cut spend. So again, the airline industry, we've spoken so much about that. So many issues going on there. No one's traveling. So troubled airlines are really finding it tough times, you know. So Vistara also coming out and saying that they're looking at a job cut and maybe a spend cut as well. And finally, no GST on salary of directors. That seems to be something else that the paper's bringing up today.
All right, and those are the top corporate headlines as well. But let's move on to the top story that's there on the Economic Times this morning, and that is indeed that the second stimulus that will be unveiled this week. Just give me a moment while I get the paper up for you. Here you go. Now, the second stimulus that could be unveiled this week, the announcement is likely to be in a very staggered manner. Remember, you have the chief economic advisor time and again come out and say that India will go ahead with staggered formula of unveiling the stimulus, unlike the other nations which have gone all out giving big stimulus plans. So according to them, they will come with medium, small size packages time and again and give relief to the Indian economy. So that's what this is saying. The announcement is likely to be in a staggered manner. A slight relief in talks. Talks are on between the PMO as well as Finance Ministry over the package. Targeted packages are likely. MSME and migrants top the list when it comes to the packages. Measures for service sectors will also follow. What will the measures actually go on and include? You have liquidity and credit support for MSMEs. You will have wage support for MSMEs and support for migrant. Variant of DBT is on the cards when it comes to migrants. You have incentives coming in for companies to maintain jobs as well. So this is what is expected in the second stimulus package that is likely to be unveiled this week. Definitely all eyes on that, Varun. The second stimulus package coming in from the government, the most awaited one rather.
Right, Cheryl, definitely important. We already know that the government has raised its borrowing target significantly to around 12 lakh crore from the previously 7.8 lakh crore. So clearly some dole out should be on the anvil. But keeping it with that subject, Ruchi is now going to be with us. Good morning, Ruchi. And what are you gathering? What are the top government officials trying to set in place so that we can see easing of curbs and perhaps some stimulus as well?
The economic stimulus package is something that we have been waiting.
I guess we've lost Ruchi on that note, but it was Ruchi was here to take us through the Prime Minister and Chief Minister's video meet that is likely to be held, that will for surely be held today to discuss on what to do after May 17. Definitely a crucial meeting that we are eyeing for the Home Ministry, Finance Ministry as well as the Health Ministry will be attending this particular meet. And they will review a phased exit from the lockdown. Further exemptions for eco-activity is likely. The states, you remember, are in favor of isolating containment zones, areas in the red zones. And states demand eco-relief as well, especially for the MSME sector. So all eyes on this particular meeting. The Prime Minister will be meeting the Chief Ministers today via a video conference, and we need to watch out for what steps they will be discussing in that particular meet. So that is on top of the agenda this morning. That is the Prime Minister's, Chief Minister's meet. Varun, all eyes on that. We'll be tracking that closely as well on ET Now.
Right, Cheryl, definitely something that we're going to be eyeing out for very closely. Now, Apple, obviously eyeing India as a huge production destination. Like I mentioned, top story of the paper today. 1/5 of their production capacity from China is looking to be shifted here. So that's a very large figure. We all know the kind of volumes that China does. They're going to be scaling up the manufacturing revenues. And if you're looking at a figure of what they could potentially be putting into India, they're talking about $40 billion. So $1 billion is 7,500 crores. So you're looking at, in the lakhs of crores kind of investment coming from them is what we're hearing right now. And they're actually seeking a lot of alternatives to China-based production because of all the problems that we've been seeing over there. So that's a quick update on what's happening with Apple as far as India is concerned. Top story of the paper.
All right, and here let's move on to the top story that is there on the Economic Times as well as the Times of India. There you go, is the front page on Times of India. and that is passenger trains back on track from tomorrow onwards. There's a sigh of relief coming in from most of the passengers, especially migrants as well, the fact that the passenger trains will be back on track from tomorrow. But yes, there are some terms and conditions and what the railway ministry is planning and how they will roll this entire thing out. We have my colleague Utkarsh Chaturvedi joining us to take us through the top story this morning. Utkarsh, take it away. Passenger trains will be back on track from tomorrow onwards, but what is it that you need to look out for?
Exactly, Shirley, it's obviously a very phased restarting of service, and that is precisely the reason why a number of trains will be only 15. They will do a return journey, so you'll have 30, initially 30 journeys altogether, going and coming back. Which will be these locations? So all these trains will start from New Delhi, but they'll go Dibrugarh, Agartala, Howrah, Patna, Bilaspur, Ranchi. So there are almost 15 destinations, which include Mumbai, Ahmedabad, and Jammu as well. But all of these, first of all, will only the ticket counters won't open. Will only have online booking. The counter is going to start from today at 4 p.m. More information about what are the timings of these we will get today itself. Till 4, all is going to start. And then what Piyush Goyal in his tweet as well, and Indian Railways also said that by time they start getting more and more rates, getting more and more destinations in, given the fact that one, there are Shramik Express trains which are also at this point of time getting the migrant laborers to their place, and more importantly, also a lot of railway coaches have been used as COVID care centers. But clearly, as you know, we're talking about the economy moving and the government trying to make sure that in a phased, staggered manner we open up the economy. Railways also trying to do the same.
Right, Utkarsh, thanks for that. And just stay on with us for a second. Before we get Cheryl's take on the coronavirus, I wanted to ask you, what's happening with the delivery of liquor? We all know they open liquor stores, now they shut them down. Now it seems to be that they're exploring delivery avenues for liquor. So what's the update on that?
So at this point of time, this is obviously being considered an option. We still don't know that whether this home delivery option, when we are speaking about, is considered for places like Mumbai and Pune. And not because remember that Mumbai and Pune are two cities where there has been a lot of flip-flop when it comes to the Maharashtra government and their decision on the sale of non-essentials, especially liquor and tobacco, in both the cities, especially in Mumbai, after 1 day of liquor sales and 1 day of allowing liquor sales, they had shut shops. Now they're obviously looking for an alternate for the revenue shortfall, obviously that's going to have. And that is the biggest challenge for Maharashtra at this point of time, is given the fact that Mumbai and Pune both are such big cities. And we are looking at the revenue shortfall, given the fact that there hasn't been any economic activity. The Maharashtra government at this point of time is very closely looking at it. But then again, the bigger problem also is the kind of number of cases which we have in Mumbai and Pune both. So maybe the government is now at this point of time thinking that at least the home delivery of liquor can be an option through which there can be some money coming in, given the excise duty on alcohol anyhow is high, and Mumbai and Maharashtra charges anyhow are the highest excise duties on alcohol, with the coffers of state government can be filled up, which has been quite empty given the fact that there has been a lot of expenditure in the past 1 month, but no revenue.
All right, Utkarsh, thank you for joining us for that particular story that the Maharashtra government plans for home delivery of liquor from this week onwards. Definitely is on a trial basis. They need to figure out how this will exactly work. Remember, other states also have explored this particular avenue. You have Punjab that is actually exploring this avenue. Even most likely, even Tamil Nadu may follow the suit as well. But let's move on and let's talk about the top 5 headlines on coronavirus that's there on the paper. And first up, definitely, is that India sees over 4,000 cases, over 4,000 new cases for the first time ever. So 4,000 cases in a day, over 4,000 rather cases in a day that India is registering. Apart from that, you have easing of curbs that will be on the Prime Minister as well as the Chief Minister meet agenda. They're going to look forward and figure out ways of how to ease the curbs. All participating CMs to speak at this particular meeting, unlike the previous meetings where only a certain set of chief ministers were allowed to speak. So there you go. all participating CMs to speak at the particular meet. A spike in COVID cases, especially in Maharashtra and Gujarat, will also be discussed in this meet. So it's a top headline coming in when it comes to coronavirus. Next, you have the passenger trains that will be back on track from tomorrow onwards. Booking will open online from 4 p.m. Today. It will be limited amount of trains that will be plying, but definitely a crucial one, that easing, slow and steady easing of the curbs coming in on the passenger train. Next, you have the count that is there, India nationwide. India sees over 4,000 new cases for the first time, a 20% higher count of new cases than the previous peak of 3,602. The total count was at around 4,308 cases reported yesterday. Moving on, you have Maharashtra that's reported 1,943 new cases with 53 deaths in the state in a day. And then you have Mumbai that's reported 875 cases in a day, one day peak coming in for Mumbai as well. Definitely rising cases, a matter of concern coming in for the state of Maharashtra. And those are the top 5 headlines coming in on coronavirus.
Well, a lot of you may be familiar with an app that was trending and very popular not too long ago called Hike. And we actually caught up with the founder, Kavin Mittal, regarding what the latest traction in the apps have been, what is the latest development on that front regarding the valuation, and also what he just thinks of everything that's going on right now in work from home. Let's listen in.
Do you think work from home is here to stay? Would you say entrepreneurs, professionals, your age group are now convinced that this is going to be the new normal, even when lockdown is over, when you do know that your employees don't necessarily have to be home, they're not jazzing up for a movie or for a date and all of that?
Yeah, you know, we were initially, like everybody else, a little skeptical. But, you know, fortunately for us, we have the infrastructure in place to make this happen. And because everybody's locked down at their homes at the same time, I think that makes this significantly easier.
Yeah.
And, you know, the company's working pretty well. The teams are very productive. Of course, we have the added overhead of coordinating and so on and so forth. But when everybody's at home in one place and you have core hours that are built in, it's a lot easier. But no doubt, we're learning that this is possible. And, you know, I won't be surprised if we take some learnings from the way we work today back into our everyday lives when we sort of, when this lockdown ends, and improve the way we work and be a bit more open-minded to what sort of work from home and remote working could look like.
So what about the gaming aspect? You told me about the relationships, good relationships, these 2 great days, the virtual world, the virtual ID. You don't want to do news, but you want to still look at gaming?
Yeah, we're looking at gaming in multiple ways. One of the ways we have made a move in gaming is we invested in a company called Winzo last year. We let that run. And, you know, the theme, the blueprint, as I called it, is, you know, future social is these vertical niches. And in a more palatable sort of way, it's these sort of multiple places where people can hang out online.
Yeah.
And, you know, Highland is all about great relationships. And we really believe there's an opportunity to build an online arcade for the masses.
Okay.
And, you know, if you walk into one of those arcades offline where you have the ice hockey and so on and so forth, you know, those are great experiences. But they will never make it to the remotest parts of India because bits are cheaper than atoms. Atoms are very expensive. It costs infrastructure, rent, offline to sort of build these experiences. But in the online world, it's an app, and you can have the same emotional experience. So with Winzo, we're sort of building this online arcade for the masses where you walk into the application and very much like an arcade, you have these 20 casual games. And you have carom, you have stick cricket, you have all these fun games that you can play with other people, and you can also wage against them.
Okay.
And so it's this weird new genre that's combining casual games with the idea of waging on skill-based games that's taken off like a rocket. And I think it's because, you know, gaming is another form of entertainment, but it's bite-sized entertainment. It's also interactive entertainment.
Yeah.
And if you look at gaming as a business, globally, gaming revenues are far bigger.
All right, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the newspaper show. But before we sign off, here's a special segment for the news for the hearing impaired.